We're going deep, and we're going hard.
Well, I guess we know how Bryce likes it.
Surely you can't be serious.
I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley.
What's up guys, it's Demise here, and I hope you really enjoyed that little snippet at the beginning of this video. Way back when I first started playing Modern Warfare, that was an ongoing joke with a friend of mine when we were playing through the game, and I wanted to share it with all of you. Today though, our topic of conversation is going to be equipment inside of Modern Warfare. Now with that being said, this is not an all-inclusive list. I'm sure they're going to be adding more equipment maybe in the full release of the game, but this is what we've seen so far. Now before we get started, I would like to ask you guys to hit that like button down below. If this video can get 10 likes, I'll put out another Modern Warfare video with some more information the very next day. Now of course there's two different categories when it comes to equipment. We have the lethals and we have the tacticals. Let's start off with those lethals. First off, of course, is the classic frag grenade. This is just a cookable fragmentation grenade. Now frag grenades have been in the game since the dawn of Call of Duty, and I honestly don't see them performing much different than they have in previous years. One thing I am going to be watching out for is because we have removed the pick 10 system, everybody's going to have a frag grenade or at least some kind of a lethal and some kind of a tactical on their classes. So there is a high likelihood that, spawn grenades and spam grenades are going to be a thing. Second up is another classic since Modern Warfare 2, and that is the Simtax grenade. This is a timed sticky grenade. Now if any of you don't know, the Simtax grenade will stick to walls, it'll stick to riot shields, it'll stick to teammates, and you can actually use that to your advantage. Next up on the lethals is the Molotov cocktail. Now the Molotov is an improvised incendiary device that explodes on contact. The first time we got to see this grenade was during the 2v2 gunfight, and it did seem to do quite a bit of damage when either the enemy or yourself happened to get inside of that fire. Next up is this sniper favorite, and that is the Claymore. The Claymore is a proximity activated explosive mine. Now the reason why I say this is a sniper's favorite is because this is generally what all of our camping snipers or any of you that like to stay in a single building will put behind you on doorways, on stairways, etc. Now I'm not saying this is a bad tactic, it is effective, but I'll always give people a hard time for doing it. Also in the lethal category is the throwing knife. This is a retrievable knife that is lethal on impact. Now once again, we've seen this in some of the other trailers that we've seen so far, people throwing the throwing knife and actually getting kills with it one shot, as expected, and as we've seen in other Call of Duties. And of course, in the lethal category, we have the C4. I wonder what FaZe Jev thinks about C4 in this game.
That's a hell of an arm you got there to throw that f***ing C4!
All jokes aside, the C4 is very strong, and it has a large explosive that sticks to surfaces and can be detonated remotely with double tapping the reload button. C4 and other Call of Duties have been really close to that broken level, and so we're going to have to see whether or not they either tone this down or keep it at a manageable level in the beta and even for the full release of the game. Alright, another lethal that we've talked about before in some of my previous videos is the thermite grenade. Now we talked a little bit about thermite in the multiplayer reveal trailer. I'll leave a link to that right up here in the top right. But the description officially in the game is it burns fiercely for a short while after impact, and it sticks to all surfaces. This includes people. Now the thermite grenade does only burn for a short period of time, however it is one of those area of denials if you need to throw it at a doorway, get around the corner and heal, maybe reload. This year we have both thermite and a Molotov, so there's a lot of area denial, especially for your objective game modes, that will allow us to keep people off of them for a short duration if we need to. Another lethal that is returning to the series is the proximity mine. This is a pressure triggered explosive that deals heavy damage to vehicles. Now that last piece is something that I haven't heard many people talk about, but I bet this is going to be the go-to if we're having to take out any tank kill streaks when we run out of rockets or we don't have any equipped. Alright, that's all we know about the lethals. Let's talk about the tacticals. Now to start things off, for the tacticals we have the flash grenade. This blinds and deafens enemies. Now in the gameplay we've seen so far, the flash grenade looks very strong. It looks like it actually does to your character basically what it would do in reality. Of course your screen goes white as it always has, but the ringing in your ears this year is very, very realistic sounding. I feel like I'm more excited than I probably should be for this, but I feel like the flash grenade might accidentally be usable this year. Because in Modern Warfare in previous years, I went with our next tactical, the stun grenade, over the flash grenade. My main reason for doing this was you could throw the stun grenade a whole lot faster than you could the flash grenade, and that meant I had less time where my gun was not in the air and I could shoot people. Now the definition of the stun grenade this year is it slows victims' movement and aiming and it is effective against equipment. Now the last piece of the puzzle is actually extremely important, especially if you're trying to rush doorways and you don't want to get taken out by some hidden claymore or hidden proximity mine. Now the tactical list wouldn't be complete without the smoke grenade. Smoke grenade this year deploys a smoke screen that blocks vision and automated targeting systems. Now once again, that last piece of this one where it blocks automated targeting systems, I don't think is something that we've seen in previous Call of Duties. I do like that that's something they've added to this game, they're added to this equipment, and I believe it's going to be super useful if we are trying to avoid sentry guns, among other lethal kill streaks. Returning as a modification to Black Ops 4 is the stim. The stim shot is a military stimulant that cauterizes combat wounds. I'm not sure how stabbing yourself in the chest with a needle cauterizes wounds, but we'll leave that out there. Next up, returning from Black Ops 1 and probably my favorite tactical in this entire list, the decoy grenade. Now its definition in the game is it is a counter-intel grenade that simulates fake gunfire and radar signatures that confuse the enemy. Now a lot of people use the decoy grenade with varying levels of success inside of Black Ops 1, however I became very good with it as well as my clan. If you had people rush in your house and you needed to kind of throw them off, you could throw it into another room or even on the other side of the room, and of course when they run in that door they're going to look towards that gunfire, they're going to look where that red dot is, and a lot of times that led to kills and keeping that kill streak alive. Moving right along, we have the gas grenade. This explodes on impact with the ground, releasing a lingering cloud of tear gas that causes slowed movement, blurred vision, and coughing. Well, this reminds me a lot of walking into the bathroom after Prodigy's been in there. That being said, this grenade is going to be another area of denial for our objective game modes. Not only that, but it makes the enemy start making noises. The coughing is going to give away their position, and if they are camping or hiding behind a wall, you're going to know where they are if they have ran through your gas. Alright, the next tactical we're going to be talking about is something that's returning from Modern Warfare 2 after a long stint of not being in any of the Call of Duties. And that is the heartbeat sensor, or as we used to call it, the baby monitor. Now its definition in-game is it is a tablet that displays rough information about nearby enemies. Now this tactical didn't see a whole lot of use inside of core game modes, however it did seem to come in handy inside of hardcore when you don't have a minimap and you may not be calling in kill streaks or UAVs or personal radars all the time. I do think this tactical has its niche, but I don't think it's going to be used as often as most of the other tacticals we see. Next, we're going to talk about the snapshot grenade. Now, the snapshot grenade seems to be kind of controversial inside the community right now. A lot of people feel like this is going to be very powerful, kind of overpowered to be able to see through walls and to see enemies. And we've already heard that this may even get banned inside of competitive right off the bat. With that being said, I also think this is a breath of fresh air. It's a new tactical that we are adding to Call of Duty, and it's something we really haven't seen before. And last but not least is a tactical that hasn't actually been confirmed. We haven't seen it in the game yet, it hasn't been in any of the menus, but we did see it in one of the descriptions of the perks. If you guys haven't seen my perk video where I break down all the perks that are currently in the game that we've seen, I'm going to leave a link to that right up here in the top right. Go check that out. It's a pretty good video. It's kind of lengthy, but it kind of goes in depth, and we definitely cover all of the perks, weapon perks, and field upgrades that we see inside Modern Warfare. Now the EMP, as we can only imagine, is going to be an electromagnetic pulse grenade that when you throw it, it disables equipment, maybe even kill streaks, especially your ground kill streaks, takes out any of those personal radars, among other of the smaller kill streaks that we see throughout the map. I'm honestly kind of curious why they haven't released any information, any gameplay on this, because it is listed inside of the perks, but we'll be waiting and seeing whether or not it's in the beta, and of course we'll be checking it out when it comes to the full game. Alright guys, I think that's all the equipment. Before we wrap up here, I do want to mention some of the perks that I did mention in that other video that do enable or adjust these equipment. The first one of these perks is of course EOD, and this makes it where you take reduced damage from non-killstreak explosives, and this includes claymores, your proximity mines, and your C4. If people are grenade spamming or you are playing those objectives, this is definitely one of the perks you're going to have to look at running. Next up, and one that I'm a little bit concerned about, is Restock. That allows you to recharge your equipment over 30 seconds. I mentioned in my other video that this will contribute to grenade spam, and it's going to be one of those perks that they're running a lot during objective game modes. However, since we are talking about your lethal and your tacticals, this will allow those to recharge, and you can get them every 30 seconds, which I think is going to be super strong. Now, there are a couple perks I want to talk about in slot 3 that have effect on these lethals and tacticals as well. And the first one of those is Battle Hardened. This reduces the strength of enemy flash, stun, and EMP effects. This is the one I mentioned before that I said made it where we knew that we had EMPs inside the game. Also, I have to mention Cold Blooded, as this will make you immune to those snapshot grenades. So if they become a topic of concern, this would be your perk to go to as well. Also, the perk Shrapnel allows you to spawn with an extra piece of lethal equipment. This also makes your explosive damage delays the enemy's health regeneration. This perk is one of the main reasons I am worried about grenade spam, because 1, you can recharge them with your slot 2, and 2, you can use this one to have an extra piece. And last but not least, the perk that actually does affect your lethals and tacticals is Spotter. This one just basically allows you to see enemy equipment and then spot them by aiming down sights through walls. Alright, there you have it. That's all the lethals and tacticals that we know about in Modern Warfare at this time. Why don't you guys let me know down in the comment section what equipment you are most looking forward to. Is it the Molotov? Is it the throwing knife? Maybe thermite? Maybe you're in my bucket and you like the decoy grenade? Or maybe you are like Jev and you're really looking forward to C4. Also, something that I've been doing is my favorite comment I will pin to the top of the comment section. So look out for that. Also, something that I mentioned in my previous video, if I can get to 100 subscribers before the release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I'm going to be giving away a copy. Entering is completely free. All you gotta do is be a subscriber at the time that we meet that goal, and you can have a shot at winning the game. Some of my most recent videos should be popping up on the screen about now. Go check those out. This has been Demise, guys. We'll see you on the B flag.